Hey guys, what is up? It's Billy coming at you with a vinyl update. It was one of those things where I've really been long overdue on a vinyl update, so this might be a little bit long. I'm going to try and buzz through it here, but I want to jump in right off the bat because I know some of you guys like to skip around a little bit, and I want to make sure there's certain things that you guys see. There's a ton of great stuff in here. I've been pretty selective in what I've picked up lately. Haven't bought any collections. Haven't really done any of that. So I've been putting money towards quality things. So with that being said, I don't know if any of you guys saw Brandon's video, Mr. Hall of Fame. It was one of his most recent videos within the last week or so, maybe the last week or two, because I am so far behind on videos. But anyway, he and I had hit up the St. Louis Record Show, which we typically do. This is, I don't know, maybe the fourth or fifth time we've met up at the show, and I'm not gonna lie, it's usually not a very good show. A lot of dealers that have lower end stuff there, maybe introductory type stuff. But as far as your Grail type things, hard to find things, rare pressings, metal, you usually don't see very much of that. So imagine my surprise and Brandon's surprise when we get there and there are two or three dealers that have not only some really killer metal, early metal, great condition, decent prices, willing to negotiate, but also a guy that had a ton of killer Japanese pressings as well. Those 80s, 70s, 80s rock pieces in Japanese pressing. So Brandon snatched up a couple of those. I was kind of getting ready to do that when I got sidetracked. Anyway, I'll fill you in on that in a second. But when I first got there, I walked around a little bit, picked up this here. You guys know I'm a big Jim Croce fan. This is Jim and Ingrid Croce. Another Day, Another Town. I'm assuming this is going to be from the late 60s, possibly 1970. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't checked. I haven't done any real update on it, any real research on it. But glad to add this to the collection. Really nice. Still in the original shrink. Nice piece to have in the collection. That was $4 or $5, $6, something like that. Then I was really surprised to see this David Allan Coe Spectrum 7, one you don't see very often, from 1979. At least I don't see it very often at all around here. So got a great deal on that one. Always glad to pick up those nice Coe pieces. Then this is really cool. Quiet Riot Metal Health, and this is an original pressing with sealed with the hype sticker. My only complaint, and I was actually really happy with the price on this. I was able to get this for $20. I think he might have had either 25 or 30 on it. I was able to talk him down a little bit, but I obviously have real nice condition copies of this to begin with, but this is something that's just going to stay sealed. I know that pisses some people off again, but I don't really care. It's my collection, my money. I'm going to do with it what I want. It's not that I don't listen to the stuff. I do listen to the stuff, but this is just for collectability's sake, guys. My only real, I guess, drawback here is I really wish they would have put this hype sticker down somewhere, not right across the face. But you know what? Beggars can't be choosers. So super stoked to have that right there. Sticking with sealed things, there was a guy that had some late 80s pressings still sealed. So this is the Judd's Greatest Hits. This will fall from 1989. BMG pressing there. Good stuff on that. And a great price on that. This one was a little bit more pricey. This is, for those of you that know, this is the Highwayman, the Highwaymen. You got Waylon Jennings, Willie Nelson, Johnny Cash, and Chris Christopherson. This is from 1985. Another nice sealed copy. This one I may actually open because my copy, I'm going to be honest, isn't the best copy. I may actually pop this one open. So there you go. You guys can quit belly aching about those of us who buy sealed records and keep them sealed. That one's going to probably get cracked. Like I needed another copy of this, but I wasn't going to leave it set. It's in too good a condition. I mean, other than the hole punch here, this thing is beautiful. EX all the way around. The vinyl is just pristine, and for the price, you know, those of you that are in the know that this thing regularly sells for $75, $80, $100 all day long, and this one was $50, a little more than I really wanted to spend, because I could have spent it on other things later, and you'll hear why, but for $50, what a great steal. 1989 Garth Brooks debut album. Then here's where things get interesting. That after I picked up all that I just showed, that I met up with Brandon, and he was digging through the guy's booth that had all the Japanese stuff that I was just telling you about. We were talking about a few things. There were a couple Motley Crue pieces I was looking at. Maybe wasn't a Van Halen, because I had my Van Halen Japanese catalog complete. It was something else. So, gosh, I can't even remember. Anyway, beside the point. Brandon had picked up a Rat, the self-titled, I guess it's an EP, the self-titled EP from Rat, in a Japanese pressing, and I'm like, you know what? I don't even have that in a U.S. pressing. I just don't see it. You don't see real nice condition copies of them around, at least around here. You know, and Brandon even agreed. He said, you know what? There's a guy over in the corner over here that has some really nice early metal in great condition, and he even has some early Megaforce pressings and some really cool stuff. But you got to ask. So my ears perked up right there. I bolted over to the corner and asked about it. Found this really superb Rat self-titled U.S. pressing. So thank you for that, Brandon. Thank you for the heads up on that. Was able to score that for $12, I think it was. Great price. But here's where things get really interesting. This dealer had just purchased I would say probably 100 records. It was a metal collection, a pristine metal collection from the early to mid 80s. All original pressings in perfect condition. So he pulls out one of these anvil cases that hold about 100 records. And I knew it was going to be good when I started digging through, and there's Anthrax and all these early pressings. And then I get to this. So this is an OG, I mean an original, just minty all the way around, Megaforce, silver label, Kill 'Em All. And my jaw hit the floor. I mean, it is just as clean as they come. I'll go ahead and pull it out and show you guys the inner label as well as the record itself. I have not been able to, I haven't had a chance to clean the record yet, but here is the record itself. It may be a little bit dirty, but there you can see. Just a beautiful record. Here is the original inner, nice and white. It does have a little tear down here at the bottom, but overall, I'm not that concerned with that. This thing is just so nice. I can't believe I actually have it in the collection. He had a fair market price on these, and I didn't want to be that guy that stood there and pulled up Discogs and was looking at prices, but I did want to get a rough idea as far as what these things were really going for. What was the fair market on nice? Let's just be conservative and say VG plus, all the way to excellent plus. I wanted to get a fair market value on what these things sell for. And my gosh, these things are ridiculous. The, the price that he was asking really wasn't near what they sell for in the condition that it's in. So I was able to secure this guy, as well as this guy, which you may have saw in the thumbnail. So this is again an original Mega Force Ride the Lightning. So there we go. Silver label. Just I'm not going to pull this one out, but I am so happy to finally have these original pressings in such great condition in the collection. You guys have no idea. So that pretty well shot my wad that day. I was done. I ended up Brandon was there when I made this transaction, and I'm like, man, I hope you got money to buy lunch today. But I was joking. We ended up, I think I had $6 or $8 left in my pocket, so it was time to go. I had a good day at the record fair, so he and I went out and had some lunch and BS'd a little bit, caught up. It's always great catching up with Brandon. So that was our day at the record show. I wanted to get those out of the way for those of you who don't like sitting through all the rest of this stuff. They're like, oh shit, he's showing country now or whatever, you know. But there's plenty of other good stuff coming up. So let's see. The next three I'm going to show you. A buddy of mine who is an exterminator actually does our exterminating here. Comes and sprays the house every couple of months, you know, for spiders and whatnot. So he's always in people's houses and gets, you know, you get that face-to-face time with people, and you see, oh, you've got records sitting over here in the corner. I mean, do you collect? I mean, what do you want to do with them? So he's always taking good care of me. And when I came home one day, and there were 3 records sitting on the porch with a note from my buddy, said, hey, got these from a customer. They gave them to me. Figured you would enjoy them, and absolutely, I would. So this is Johnny Paycheck. This is Loving You Beats All I've Ever Seen. Glad to have that. Kenny knew I would dig this stuff. Some Waylon Jennings. Ruby, Don't Take Your Love to Town. That's a Pickwick comp there. And then this one, I was super stoked to see this in there. Waylon's Dreamin' My Dreams. Just an unbelievably classic, all-time classic Waylon Jennings album. I mean, this is probably my second favorite Waylon Jennings album behind Honky Tonk Heroes. This is just great. I mean, songs like Are You Sure Hank Done It This Way, Waymore's Blues, I Recall a Gypsy Woman, Been a Long Time Leaving, but It'll Be a Long Time Gone, Let's All Help the Cowboys Sing the Blues, The Door's Always Open, Turn Back the Years, She's Looking Good, Dreamin' My Dreams with You, and Bob Wills Is Still the King, which is a live cut. What a great album, and thank you, Kenny, for hooking me up on those. The next records I'm going to show here are from various record stores that I've visited over the past few months. It's just a fairly small stack. But my son, for those of you that don't know, my son, he's up in Bloomington, Illinois, playing football, going to school at Illinois Wesleyan. And there's a record store directly across the street from his dorm. And so one of the last times we went up there and watched a football game, which was just a few weeks ago, we stopped in the record store and got a real nice, clean upgrade copy because Andy from Andy's Vinyl Den had sent me a copy of this a while back, and thank you for that, Andy. It's been well taken care of and spun quite a bit, but this was a really beautiful, I mean, just pristine copy of Buck Owens. I've got a Tiger by the Tail. This was $4. Was definitely if I could do cartwheels, I would have been doing cartwheels that day. Another one that I was stoked to find is Rodney Crowell, but what will the neighbors think? Really, really love me some Rodney Crowell, especially I mean, the early stuff, the '80s stuff, even into the '90s stuff. Great, great stuff there. And then the last thing I picked up that day at the record store, and that was $4, and this was all these were $4 actually, $4. Yeah, nah, maybe they were $5. They were $4.99, so I lied a little bit. They were $5 each. But this is Conway Twitty Chasing Rainbows, and this is sealed. But this actually has, what is the song that was on there? It actually has "What's a Memory Like You," which is a John Schneider cut. And is that it? Yeah, that's the whole reason I bought it. That was really the only thing that I wanted this for. But plus to add some nice Conway to the collection. I know Diggy is loving that right there. Yeah, buddy. Diggy, you got to grow your hair out just like that, man. There you go. I mean, I know you've had it that way before, but hell, who knows? We haven't seen you in forever. Your hair probably does look like that. But loving me some Conway there. Then I stopped in a couple stores in St. Louis, and I'm going to tell this story real quick here. I was I don't know if I was heading into work or had some time to kill. That's what it was. I had a meeting at like 10, and then we had a game that night. So I had some time. There was a window of 3 or 4 hours that I had to kill. And I even messaged Brandon and asked if he wanted to hook up, and he was out of town, unfortunately. But whatever part of town I was in, I just Googled, record stores near me. And the Record Exchange came up, and it was a record store that I had never been to, and I was wondering, okay, well, why have Brandon and I never really gone to the Record Exchange? We try and go to different stores every now and then just to take it all in. So I go into the Record Exchange, and I've heard Garen talk about the Record Exchange as one of his favorite stores. So I thought, I'm in for a treat here. I'm gonna go into the Record Exchange, and I walk in, and guys, I shit you not, the place is huge. It's unbelievably huge, but there is stuff literally stacked from the floor to the ceiling. You can hardly walk through anything, and this is what I hate. I'm a big guy. You can hardly maneuver through the aisles without fear you're going to knock over a pile of friggin' receivers or a stack of speakers. Plus, it was summertime, late summer. You were talking August in St. Louis, and they have no air conditioning in this big-ass building. And it was hot, I'm telling you. So I went in and started asking the questions, because it's like, dude, I'm not going to stay in here all day and look through 500,000 records. And I'm not exaggerating a bit. I guarantee you they have every bit of 500,000 records in this place. And they don't even know what they've got. There's no way. When you've got what are they? The U-Haul storage boxes that hold about 100 records or 150 records each, just stacked from floor to ceiling, as well as all your display cases and storage racks. There's no way they know what they have. It's that has to be a curator's nightmare. Anyhow, the one good thing about it is right up front by the register, there's a couple of racks that have some new arrivals and some, I guess you could call them rarities. Even though they don't call it a rarities section, they're a little more higher priced, hard to find things. There was a Pink Floyd. There was a really super pristine copy of Pink Floyd's Metal on. I believe, if I'm just, this is off the top of my head, but I believe it was on the original. Was it Harvest that those were on? I don't know. I can't remember. Brain fart right now. But anyway, it was an original pressing, really nice condition, and he wouldn't budge on the price. And I'm like, nah, not even $5. I mean, come on, man. And he's like, no, we don't budge on the prices. So I'm like, okay, well. But I did find this. So anyway, I was in there an hour and a half, sweated my ass off because it was hotter than the devil's nutsack in this place. And I end up in an hour and a half in a record store. It's got to be a world record that I only spent $17, 12 of which, no, it was $15, 12 of which was on this, Ray LaMontagne. I wasn't familiar with this album, but for 12 bucks, I wasn't gonna just let it sit there. Yeah, there we go, Record Exchange, 12 bucks. My memory is serving me correct today. So pick this up. Have not had a chance to spin it yet, but can't wait. Love Ray LaMontagne. So there was 12 of my 15 spent right there, and these 3 8-tracks that you see sitting back there. There's a Jerry Reed, a Johnny Paycheck, and hell, I can't remember. Jerry Reed, Johnny Paycheck, and maybe it's 2 Johnny Paychecks. But anyway, they were $1 each. So that was my $15 for an hour and a half, and I left, 10 pounds of sweat in there. I'll never go back to that place, let me tell you. Anyway, Garen, I apologize that that's one of your favorite places, but man, to each his own, I guess. It is definitely not my kind of place. You can't go in there and just dig unless you've got hours and hours and hours. And I didn't have that kind of time, and I don't have that kind of patience, to be honest with you. So then after I left there, the first thing I did was I called Brandon, and I chewed his ass and told him, why didn't you tell me to stay out of that place? And he laughed. We got a good laugh out of it. And then I headed down to one of our favorite places in downtown, which is the Music Record Store off Locust. And they never fail to deliver. They usually have some good rock and good metal in there, but this time the country stuff kind of delivered here. So this is a nice original pressing of Loretta Lynn's "You Ain't Woman Enough to Take My Man," original Decca pressing there, and it says Decca stereo. I'll have to check and see. I say it's original, but it's an original Decca stereo. I'm not sure if they have a mono copy of this available or not, but it's either way, beautiful copy of that. I was really happy to get that. And no, I didn't get it for $3.15. I paid a little bit more. I think it was $7. It wasn't much. $7.99 is what it was, because it was the same price as this. $7.99. This is a sealed copy of the new Record Store Day reissue of Silk Purse by Linda Ronstadt. They had this on clearance. Don't know why. I'm assuming because the seal is broken just a little bit right here. I don't care. I'm going to open it and listen to it because I love this record, and can't wait to get that one done. So that was $7.99, and then this I was really glad to stumble upon this. This is the I think it's 2014. Yes, 2014 Music on Vinyl remastered reissue of Bad Outta Hell by Meatloaf. And you can see right there, exclusive, limited edition, individually numbered on hellish red vinyl, 180 gram audiophile quality. I looked online, and all the reviews and what everybody had said, this is a phenomenal pressing, worth its weight in gold. And they sell for anywhere from $45 to $50 online. And I did pay up a little bit for this. They had it marked 39, and they did mark it down to 35, but I did bring it home and gave it a clean and a spin, and it is every bit as good as what they say. It's the best sounding copy that I have. Now I know Rob over at Black Star Vinyl has the half-speed master version, and he's actually going to send me one, which thank you for that, Rob. That's awesome. He has 2 copies of it, and I'm going to A/B those and see which one sounds better, and I'll make sure I let you know on that. But I was so happy to finally have a really nice sounding copy of that on vinyl. And then I went to my local store here, which I do love supporting, and ended up picking another Music on Vinyl pressing up. This is Dolly Parton's classic Jolene. This is again another great pressing by Music on Vinyl. Sounds fabulous, and what a great album. And I paid a little bit for that one. Seems to be those music on vinyl pressings are in that $30 to $40 range, and I think I probably paid about $32 or $33 for that one. And then also picked this one up the same day. Wasn't real familiar with this We Are vinyl, but it was $19.99, sealed copy. And those of you that know, phenomenal album, obviously. If you're holding out for original copy like I am, you know, they go for 50, 60, 70 bucks or 50, 60, 70 pounds, depending on, you know, where you're at and where you're getting them from. And then, you know, pay your shipping on top of that. I thought, you know what, for 19 bucks, you know, less than 20 bucks, I'm going to pop on this. Has a really killer custom inner sleeve, custom center labels, and it sounds great. Probably the best 20 bucks I've spent in quite some time. And then the last stack here, guys, I know we're getting a little bit long. I just want to blaze through these. A couple things I picked up off the internet. A couple grails here, actually. One that this guy has been eluding me forever. This is Johnny Paycheck's 11 Months and 29 Days. And it's one of the original outlaw country albums. Some really, really good stuff on here. Obviously, the title track, 11 Months, 29 Days. Where else? That's What Outlaws in Texas Want to Hear. I've Seen Better Days. Love With Me. What a great album. I love some Johnny Paycheck. I know there's guys out there that just really can't stand the guy. He was probably a pretty awful human being, but as far as a singer-songwriter, I love it. I just think you can't get any better when it comes to the outlaw stuff. I mean, obviously you want to talk about Waylon Jennings, you want to talk about a couple other guys, but Johnny Paycheck, you got to put him right up there in the conversation. Then when we're talking about grails, this is one I've been looking for forever. And you're talking about outlaw country, a little bit more folk than outlaw country, but he is, I mean, the definition of an outlaw, Blaze Foley is definitely one of those guys. This is, you guys probably, if you haven't heard of Blaze Foley, definitely look him up. Do yourself a favor, pull up some of his music on Spotify or stream it or YouTube or whatever. Great songwriter, kind of a little bit folky, kind of cut from the same cloth as Townes Van Zandt or John Prine. Some really, really killer stuff. And this is 1984 Vital Records pressing. I believe it's Vital Records. Yeah, Vital Records pressing of his self-titled album. This one, my favorite track on here is Picture Cards. Love it. Of course, his other songs, If I Could Only Fly, or, oh gosh, of course it would leave me now, but so many great songs from this guy. But they're not on this one. My favorite on this one, like I said, is Picture Cards. Some really good stuff. Super hard to find record, and I'm glad to finally add this grail to the collection. Just, I mean, a gorgeous pressing, mint all the way around. And then last but not least, I wanted to show this one. You guys know that I'm not a really big fan. I'm kind of outspoken about my hatred and dislike for new country, whatever they're calling new country music these days. Not that there's not good country music out there. You just got to know where to find it. You know, guys like Tyler Childers, Jason Isbell's making some new stuff. Whitey Morgan, Cody Jinks. I mean, the list goes on and on. You just got to know where to find it. It's not being programmed in your brain and shoved down your throat on radio. But this is one of those guys that is modern mainstream-ish country, and it's Luke Combs. This one's for you. This guy writes all his own stuff. And it's there's just a sprinkling of new country in there, enough that doesn't turn me off and make me want to puke and turn off the radio. But but just enough to keep those listeners happy. But this is country. This is good stuff. This kind of reminds me, Steve, if you're listening, LJ, if you're listening, you know, some of those guys that really can appreciate that the stuff like that. You know, a couple years ago, Aaron Lewis, when he came out with his record, how mind blown we were with that record, how great that record was. This is up there with that. This is on par with that kind of stuff. That's exactly how I felt when I heard this record for the first time. And I'm not exaggerating, I'm not bullshitting, from front to back. Every song is that good. It's great. Now, this is the way it came out originally. It's just called This One's For You, which is a 12 track, 6 on each side, six cuts on each side album. He actually has came out with This One's For You 2, which actually has 5 bonus tracks on it. So it's 17 songs. And of those 5 bonus tracks, I think 4 of them have been singles, and 3 or 4 of them have been huge hits. So I really wish they would come out with that version on vinyl. Even if it's a 2-disc set, I don't care. I would rebuy it. It's that good. But songs like, obviously the title track, This One's For You, is great. But That's What Memories Are Made Of, Out There. Probably my favorite track on the album is The Lonely One. Really, really good. A fun song, Beer Can. Nothing Picks Me Up Like a Beer Can. Kind of a little play on words, but a really, really fun song. Hurricane was a huge hit on the radio. One Number Away, another huge hit. Don't Tempt Me with a Good Time. And then When It Rains, It Pours. That was another huge hit for him. I mean, this guy has just blown up over the course of the last year. This One's For You, I mentioned that earlier. Be Careful What You Wish For, I Got Away With You, and Honky Tonk Highway. Guys, trust me on this one. If you like that rugged outlaw, kind of Hank Jr.-ish sound, this is a great, great album. Do yourself a favor. You won't be disappointed, trust me. So there is my long overdue vinyl update. Sorry, that's why we're coming in at 30 minutes, guys. But for those of you that hung in there, thank you so much for listening to me ramble on about records and other stuff, nonsense. I told you guys you're going to get sick of seeing me. Anyway, thank you guys for always hanging in there, even when I don't make videos as frequently as I should. But you guys are great. I appreciate the comments. Appreciate the back and forth banner that we do sometimes. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna cut it short here. Cut it short, right? 30 minutes. Come on. Anyway, I'm gonna cut it off. Until next time, take care, guys. Peace.